Hello to Cape Breton Eagles fans. Welcome to, I guess we can call it Season 2 of Inside the Nest, and welcome to the year 2025. I'm Patrick McNeil, joined by my co-host Brad Chandler, and a special guest here for this first podcast of the new year, Eagles General Manager Sylvain Couturier. Sylvain, Happy New Year. How was your relaxing or not relaxing New Year?
It was good, really good. We had, a lot of talk, obviously, and a lot of movement, a lot of trades. But that being said, it's that time of the year, and we're happy that it's all done and move over and get things done.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it was a year ago that I guess, at the first episode of this that we spoke. We were in Quebec, and it was at the very tail end of the trade period last year. I think you just got done getting Thomas Cibulka the day before, Lucas Romeo on the way up to Quebec as well. So you're busy this year and busier than last year, I guess.
Yeah, busy in the sense where we made and complete a lot of trade. A lot of the trade that we made earlier, especially early in the start of the trade period, was a trade that we have to complete with other teams. That the Ruchas deal that we have to get a third round pick this year instead of a second, and Charles Boutin with the team will lost a third round pick. So there was a lot of a deal that we had to be completed. But it was busy. It was obviously we got 4 or 5 players, I think, in deals, and we're happy. We're happy where we are, and very excited about the second half.
Yeah, we talked before. It's one thing to see a trade. So-and-so gets traded for a draft pick or a player. And I'm sure fans are thinking about, I'd love for the Eagles to trade this guy. Call up the other GM. Hey, we'll give you this. Yeah, that sounds great. When in reality, some of these trades probably go back a couple of months. How does the process go through with the paperwork? And you probably have to consult with the assistants, et cetera, and whatnot.
Exactly. You work with your staff, obviously, the scouts, the John Hanna, assistant GM. We work very closely, me and John. But yeah, no, it's something that we start early in November, sometime even earlier than that, to discuss about players. And like I said when I first got here, I like to work with 3-year plans, and a lot of the deal that we made for this year, were done a couple of years ago. I'm talking about the Burbage trade, the new Anneberry trade, the Newcombs deal. All these deals are a completion of our plan of the 3-year plans. And Schmitty, I go way back to Schmitty. We all know that these guys, they're 19 and 20. That's our league. That's when these guys at maturity that you want to win, you have to be a team that is at maturity. So deal were made a couple of years ago for this year and the next year, and that's how I like to work, and that's where we are right now.
Yeah, and coming into this year, obviously the team had really high expectations. I think that CHL ranking really put the team on a pedestal, and there's a lot to live up to, of course, but there was a lot of promise on the roster. You talked about the 3-year plan, and obviously this is the third year of that 3-year plan. Knowing how the team played in the first half, that maybe they didn't live up to those expectations, does that alter how you see the 3-year plan now, or are you still pretty much on the same path going into the second half?
No, I think we're exactly where we want. Obviously, as you mentioned, we were one game under 500 when the break came December 14th, and that's not where we're supposed to be. And I think the players, everybody in the organization, know that we underperformed the first half of the season. That being said, we went through a lot of adversity with Schmiede that just came back from the car accident that we got in training camp. Fullerton, just being back for the last 15, 20 games. So there was a lot of adversity the first half. But like I said, we think this group, the core group that we had here, will perform. And I think, we're not going to go into specific and mention name, but in general, I think that the players know, and as a team, that we didn't play as well as we should have been done in the first half, and I think the best has to come. I'm confident in that group. I know that group is a good group, and adding those 4 or 5 players, I think, will make a big difference. But it's within ourselves. It's within this team. I think. We got a lot of confidence in these guys. They're going to bounce back, and we're going to be very dangerous in the second half.
Yeah, I know expectations are high, even more so after you go on a 5-game winning streak. You talk about guys maybe not playing up to potential. Sometimes change of scenery can help too. I know Alex Gee, somebody comes in, he had a bit of a rough first half. I know injuries probably didn't help, and we'll get a chance to touch on all the new guys, but we'll start, I guess, with him. You probably knew he was coming a little bit earlier because of the Noah Reinhardt trade, so what do we know about Alex?
Exactly. That's talking about, like Brad mentioned, it started early. Well, we had an extra 20 years overage coming up as Schmidi came back, and we were looking to fix a few problems there and there. Alex Gee is a guy that scored 24 goals or 23 or 24 goals on the power play the last 2 years. That's a lot. Our power play was ranked 14 or 15, especially early in the season. I think we were 16 overall in the league. So we were looking for a guy that might help us in the power play. He's a good hockey player. He's a big body, 6'3", close to 200 pounds. He can play the physical game, but he's a guy on the power play that really can help a team, and that's why that's what we like so much about him, and that's why we went and get him.
Yeah, and Louis Gendron as well, another guy that seems like a piece that we were missing. Almost fills kind of that role of Cam McDonald from last year. That big face-off guy. And that's a name that I know you've been kind of going after for a little while.
Oh, I love Louis. Louis is a guy that every coach likes because he can play wing, can play center. He's really good on the face-off. He can play PK, he can play PP. He's not the biggest out there, but he plays big. He's a guy that you know what you're going to get when you step in the ice. And there's nothing about Loic Mburanumwe. You want to win a championship, you need guys like Loic Mburanumwe.
And Nathan Plouffe was the last guy you bring in. People might not remember him because he comes in a little bit later than the rest of the crowd. But
hasn't played yet as of right now.
Yeah, that's right, as of time of recording. But you said he's kind of similar to Angelo Fullerton. So I think that's pretty good. People look forward to seeing a guy like that in the lineup.
No, exactly. He's a big body. He's only 18 years old, second year in the league. And again, he was the first PK unit. That's another thing that we were looking at to improve. He was on the first PK unit in Quebec, and he's a guy who's going to help us along the line with our PK. But not only that, he's a guy that we can put on any line, and he will help us out. And great kid, and we're excited about Nathan. He haven't played yet. He's going to play his first game Thursday, but very excited to have him here.
And of course, kind of the talk of the town right now is Alexis Cournoyer. Obviously, I don't even think you would have expected him to be playing as good as he is, and kind of being, I think he'd be CHL Team of the Week this week.
And Goalie of the Week back to back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I think Eastlink Player of the Game.
Yes.
And Gatorade Player of the Game. Anyway.
Yes. He's a great singer, I hear.
Yeah, he is.
Look up the archives, folks.
But yeah, talk about how that came to be, because he was called up because I guess if Milota maybe never left, then maybe he would have ever.
No, it's a great story. I mean, we didn't make any promise to Alexi when we made the trade. We told him that we had one of our goalie at the World Championship, that we're looking to have a guy here that will help us to win the hockey game till January 6th, and that everything will be reevaluated. The kid came here, stole the job from Brendan Lavoie, and there was nothing wrong with Brendan Lavoie. It's just the way that Alexis play, we have no other choice to keep him, and he's playing with confidence. He brings confidence to our group. That's exactly what you need of our goalie, and I tip my hat to him. He came here with no expectation, and he got a job in the queue now because of him and because of his performance.
And I think something
great story, kids. Never give up.
Yeah, and I think something fans forget too is that Milota's the youngest of the three of them.
No, exactly. Yeah, he's and our number one goalie's coming back, so it's great.
As well as maybe some internal competition now, because Milota's away at the World Juniors, not playing a lot in the World Juniors, and then coming back and seeing this guy that he probably wouldn't have never even met until today.
Right.
That Milota's back, and now thinking maybe I have to kind of fight for my job back here.
Oh, for sure. I think last year we had a great experience last year with Ruch and Milota. They were challenging each other, and I think we're in the same situation right now. These two guys going to challenge each other, and we'll be in confidence with either one in the net, and that's exactly, again, how you win championship and how you win hockey games. And having Milota and Cournoyer right now, I think we're fortunate to have these two, and we're very excited.
Now, Yak didn't get to play, but did you get to talk to him about the whole experience? Because he gets a medal. That's pretty cool.
Oh, I know. Every time that you play or not, that to go there and be around the World Junior Championship, that's for him. He's 18. He'll be back next year as 19. Probably be the number one guy in that. That's a great experience for any players, and it doesn't matter who it is. And that's just going to be good for him. He had a lot of hockey as well. The first half, he played a lot. So having that long break might be good for him.
Yeah, and Czechia seems like a country that's really coming up in the hockey world. Like after the bronze medal last year with Thomas Sabelka and that team, and bronze medal again this year, and the World Championships, I believe, as well, right? Did they not win that last year?
I believe so.
Yeah,
nation on the rise.
So it's a good team to be associated with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Brad intentionally staggered the order so that he could avoid saying Loic Mburanumwe's name. How close am I?
Mburanumwe. Mburanumwe.
Yeah, slides is the francophone tongue.
Well, I learned it from his. I remember his brother last year.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
no, it's a tough one.
Yeah, you didn't spell it right either. I don't know.
No, I was trying to spell it my attempt
okay.
at phonetically.
Yeah.
But Brad's spoiling the business here, telling our notes are laid out here. But yeah, I don't know if Loic's told you how to say his name, but a bit of a different situation because he comes in at 18 and obviously not a regular part of the roster yet. But does he have a future in the Q, do you think?
Oh, we're going to have a look at him at some point, I'm sure. He's a guy who was drafted third round by Victo. He's a big body. He's a 6'4", 6'5" defenseman. He can play the physical game. He's a great kid from what I heard. So that's depth. That's depth to our lineup. But he's having quality minutes right now. He's playing 24, 25 minutes in Yarmouth. There's no sense for us to bring him up here and, not giving any ice time at all when he's playing 24, 25 minutes in junior right now. So we're happy with the guy we got here, and having him in the back burner like that is great for the organization.
And he can really kind of take a page maybe from Alexis Cournoyer's book. He was a guy who's playing junior A at 19 and then has an opportunity. If he's anything like his brother, I get to interview his brother. He's really well spoken, and he was just such a tough player to play against.
Yeah, exactly.
Too. So it's certainly it was a good D-man for Bathurst last year for sure.
And of course, a big add on the back end was Andrew Brown as well, because I know that's obviously your first time dipping your feet into the NCAA side of things. How did that work out?
Well, we're bringing a guy that played top four in their challenge, and a team that will challenge for the cup. I mean, the price we would have to pay for a guy like that would have been very, very high. And to have him as a free agent, and we're not the only one on Andrew Brown. I think there was a few teams that not just in our league but in the OHL that were trying to get him.
Do you mean the price you would have had to pay if he were to be in the queue?
Yeah, exactly. To acquire a top four defense,
right.
The price would have been just very, very high.
Right.
That being said, having him as a free agent coming in, play top 4 minutes, we're very fortunate. And he's a great kid, play very well. He's a two-way defenseman, move the puck well, skate well. Like I said, it's sometimes you have to be lucky. We did have a really good relationship with his agent. His agent really helped us out on that one. But that's what it is. Having good contact and good relationship with agent help you out sometime. And definitely on this one, I have to give his agent what the credit that he for us, because he's definitely the guy who will help us out to have him here.
How much was Lucas Romeo in his ear telling him to come to Cape Breton?
I don't know that. I know they know each other from back home, but they skate together last summer. But I think the agent have to take the credit on this one.
It's funny how small the hockey world really is too, right? Because I was talking to Alexander Guy today, and he used to play midget, I think, with Thomas Lavoie, and I found out today as well that he also played at one time with Nathan Plouffe as well. So
I met Alex Guy. This is a story I don't tire of telling. When we played in Val d'Or, and Guy was injured. And I actually met him because he was talking to Thomas's mom, and I said, you're Alex Guy. I said, I'm sad that we're not getting to see you play because we only play the Quebec-based teams twice. I was really hoping to get to see you. Now I get to see him all the time. So
and
it worked out well.
Nathan Plouffe actually as well. Looking through his highlights, that one of the few goals he scored this year was a short-handed one here. In
a beauty too.
Yeah, it was.
I know.
Brad,
don't believe me.
That's good research. That's done for me when I get to interview him later, I'm sure.
I told him before too. I said, hopefully fans have a short-term memory because after he scored, I think he did the jersey.
Oh, he's got a new jersey.
I hope
new
he'll
logo
do
to
that.
talk.
Do that again.
Yeah,
now
me
for
too.
us on
Yeah.
our side.
I hope
yeah.
he does it again. Yeah, I hope he scores in this building every
He
night.
has to now. We're calling him out. That's perfect.
Sly, go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, so we also touched on the guys going. It kind of a quirk too. It seemed like it was a lot of player for picks trades because all the guys that move out, they end up picks come back. And I guess how much of these trades you move out Desjardins, Lavoie, Aucoin, Sabourin, Ricard, how much of this is needing to find a guy a place to play if he's displaced, or maybe in some cases a GM calls and just gives you a really good offer. And I'm sure guys probably ask for trades sometimes too. Just talk about the guys that are leaving Cape Breton.
Right. I think in Desjardins' case, sometime as a GM, there's trade you want to make and you're doing for the best of the interest of the team. In Desjardins' case, it was just being the odd man out. I mean, having a Brown coming in, we knew he was going to play. We didn't know how well he was going to play, or how often of the minutes he was going to play. But having Zielinski and Murphy was progressing really well. We didn't want to. We like our 17 years old. We didn't want to touch any of these three guys. We want to, keep them for the future of the organization. So he was kind of the odd man out. We thought the offer for a second round pick of Quebec was a really good offer, a really fair offer for us. And Dej himself, when we sat down with him, wants to have more ice time. So I think it was mutual that we agreed to trade him, and he was sad to leave. To be honest, he was sad to leave, and I was, as a GM, even after 22 years, those are the tough one to make. After that, we trade Young Emil Ricard. Emil was the only one that asked for a trade. So we sat down with the dad and him and try to, get the most that we can for our buck, for the return. And Emil was a good hockey player. We like him drafting the first round, but having a first back and a second round pick, I think, was a great asset for us. And so those assets we're gonna have for the future. And now, Brendan Lavoie, like I said, Cournoyer came in, played extremely well. We had a decision to make. Obviously, we were as an 18 years old, we had to offer him a contract by the deadline or put him on waivers if we couldn't trade him. So Victoriaville call. The GM in Victoriaville was a pro. He offered me, like I said, Marabambwe and Loic Mburanumwe and an 11-round pick, and it was a take it or leave it, or I'm going to take him on waivers tomorrow. A bit of same situation with Colin Aucoin. I shopped Colin. I tried to keep him in the league. I think he deserved to play in the queue. His ice time was really going downhill since we brought the new players. He asked us if we can accommodate him and find him a place in the queue. I was happy that Halifax, in the last hours, show some interest. And again, it was either take the pick or put him on waivers. So that's what happened with these draft picks. And now we had a lot of draft pick. Not a lot this year, but in the next year or so, in the next 2 years.
Yeah, and of course the prospect pool seems to be very strong right now too, which is probably why you felt comfortable, getting rid of Xavier Sabourin as well, because obviously he was a second-round pick last year. But looking at the players that we have in the system right now, you must feel pretty confident moving him.
Exactly. I think again the offer was there. They offer us 2 second-round pick for Xavier. We thought it was a very good price, and like you mentioned, we had Charon that will be playing here next year. We got young Boyer, Sam Boyer, who's leading scorer in Quebec by country miles now. He's the guy is an offensive threat. He will be definitely an offensive threat in this league as well. We got Sam Roca, who's playing in New Brunswick, who's leading scorer in New Brunswick. I think I've seen Heartland play this year. He's knocking on the door already for a job. And we got young Andrews and PI, who's a solid two-way, play the right way. So that's a lot of guys that we're going to have to bring in the lineup sooner than later. We could afford to trade one of them for assets for the future, and Xavier, he's the one that paid for it. But having two second round pick for him was a great return.
You had talked before about trades that were continuations of prior things. I know, obviously, you're bound to secrecy probably if there's anything that's left unsaid here. Is anything more to some of the trades that you've made? I noticed a lot of people have commented too on like draft picks for draft picks, so maybe walk us through a little bit of the science behind those trades, and if there's anything else yet to come at the draft.
Yeah, there will be a draft pick that's going to be switching around at the draft. There's trades that you make that you will get those picks, but you don't have right away when you make the trades. So you kind of switch years and stuff like that. But there will be a few other, but it will be for picks. I don't think there's no players involved, and so we expect at the draft to make a few trades regarding picks.
Obviously, we were talking about Sabourin, and of course the strong prospect pool we have. In addition to those prospects, you also have 3 first-round picks in 2026, which I think is something very big. Knowing that and knowing where we're at right now in Christmas, you see teams like Moncton and teams like Rimouski who kind of put all their chips in the pile, right? And they went all in. What do you have to say maybe to fans who might be confused why you may have held off instead of going all in?
Well, like I said earlier, it's just the way that we evaluate our team, and I think we haven't seen the best of our team. So that was the tricky part about this year's trade deadline. But when you look at our big picture of our team, the question we asked when we got there at the end is, can we beat any team with a best of 7 with this team? And the answer is yes. That being said, there was not too many players that could have come here and make an impact. We know that LaRose got traded the last day of. We were on him till the last 24 hours, I would say. There was discussion about him. Again, the Victor's GM did a tremendous job. He knew what he had in his hand. He knew there was not a lot of players available. He was asking for the big price. And we all saw the price that they paid for him. And we were not willing to go there. We thought that what we had in our hand, the chemistry of the players as well, and what we had and what we didn't see out of these guys yet, would have make a big difference. So we decided to pull off in the last minute. And like I said, I don't think that trade is over. I don't know what's the end result will be. But that being said, it was a deep price to. We're talking about 5 assets here for players that might be here for 3 months. We just thought that it was a little bit too much. Credit again to Victor's GM, did his job extremely well and got the maximum for his players. But at some point, you have to know when to go all in and when not to go all in. And like I said, it was just about where we are and can we play against any team right now and go into Series 7 and said, well, I don't think we had a chance.
Yeah.
I truly believe we had a chance against anybody right now.
Well, I think fans, like longtime fans, would say that maybe they've heard that before. They've heard that we're going for it, and then they sell, and then maybe they pull back, and they don't actually go all in. Is that because you feel like this team that we have now, similar to last year, about how like we don't necessarily have to go all in to win that? Because of course, when you won the Mem Cup, you did go all in.
Well, you have to remember one thing though, and I did the exercise as well. It's not always the best team that win. So that being said, you look at the history of the league, and when I went back as much as the last 10 years, last year Bécomo lost 12 games in the season. Drummondville ends up winning, and they went all in, and they were buyer, and they went all in last year. And 2 years ago, anybody who you're talking to, they were expecting a final of Sherbrooke and Gatineau. Well, guess what? Quebec and Halifax were in the final. So you never know. You never know it. There's so many things that can happen. Injuries, in suspension and stuff like that. there's a lot that can happen. Your goalie get hot at the right time. And again, it's to evaluate your team to see where you at, and we like our team. I sat down with the coaching staff. Like I said, I work really close with John Anna. We really like what we got. We think we got a chance as good as anyone in the league, and that's we'll see what happens. I'm not going to make any promise, but we really like our chance.
Now, obviously, you were very confident what this team could do, but as you said, you weren't where you wanted to be halfway through. Did you have other GMs at the beginning of the trade window sniffing around on Squires, Dag, and Lavoie, or were you shutting that down pretty quickly?
We had calls. We had calls for our players, and like I said, I believe in this group from day one, and that wasn't us. That wasn't us to be in one game, be under 500 December 14. I believe that we can get so much more out of a lot of these guys, and if we do, watch out. We're going to be tough to beat, and I'm confident it's going to happen. And I'm repeating myself, but this group is unique, and I think we're going to make a run.
And who is it that makes these decisions with you? Is this solely you in terms of trades, and you present it to ownership, or is this something that ownership has their say in as well?
Well, the ownership after they're saying to as well, but I have to say one thing. It's Erwin and Trevor, both owners. I went to batters. My first few years with Loic Mburanumwe was the only owners of the team. Then we went to a group of 27 that went down to 12 after a few years. Erwin and Trevor are probably the easiest owners that I work with throughout my career. They're very, they want to know what's going on, but they have 100% trust in me, and that's nice to see. That's for me. It's make my job a lot easier. But when we make decision at the end, obviously any trade, any transaction that we made, any personal movement, it's on me at the end. I like to work as a team. I mentioned John Anna many times. John Anna is on my side. We hired Fabian Joseph this year. All our scout, you have to do your homework. You have to know what they were in junior, how they in midget, how they were in midget, and you have to find out a lot of things about him, what kind of person they are, not just the hockey players. So there's a lot of homework to be done. Like I said, it's all about teamwork. You're as good as the people you're surrounded with, and I believe in that. But like I said, at the end, it's my decision, and I will live with the decision we made. But it's a team effort. It's not just about Sylvain Couturier or anybody. It's about the whole team.
No, we talked about Andrew Brown, but I'm sure just like trades, sometimes you might have to throw out a bunch of proposals before something sticks. You were probably trying to get other guys as well, and I'm sure every other team was. Just how crazy has that old window been opening up? I mean, you must be just spending hours looking and talking to different people, and conversely, NCAA teams are probably calling you, asking about Newcomb, Schmidt, and Henneberry for next season as well.
I had a few call about the 20 years old from the NCAA. Yeah, it's with the new rules, and that's one thing about this year's trade deadline as well. The new rule changed a lot of things. We had 24, 25 players coming from the BCHL or other leagues that were free agent that fill up spot that in the past we would have to trade for. So and again, I come back to Brown, Andrew Brown. The price that I would have paid for a top 4 defenseman in this league would have been probably a first round pick and more. So that's changed the whole ballgame. We did work hard, really hard the whole time until between Christmas and New Year's to get Connor Davis here. The guy was in the state. Again, right before New Year's, we thought we had a fair chance. We had a good chance to get him here. Then last minute thing, and he changed his mind. But he haven't closed the door for next year. So that's good. We had communication with him at least, and but definitely that the new rules have changed a lot of things.
What goes into that in approaching a guy like Brown and offering him the spot on the team? How does that work?
Well, I think a guy like Brown is, he didn't want to play in the CHL because of the eligibility for NCAA. He's got a full ride at St. Lawrence, He's already committed to them. He was honest with us. He said, I'm open and willing to go in the CHL now with the new rules, but it's probably going to be only for the last 3 months or last 4 months of the season. So, but we're okay with that. I mean, bringing a guy with his quality and for basically nothing for as a free agent, I think it was a bonus for us. And again, we come back to that's when getting him here got us. Dej, being the hot man, we have to move a defenseman. So Etienne got traded to Quebec, but that's all stuff that happened, and those happen. You have to be ready for those stuff.
With a guy like Brown, if he's somebody you want as a 20-year-old, and this won't be just you and Cape Breton, it'll be all around the league, how much do you envision GMs like yourself calling these NCAA teams and say, hey, if we take this guy as a 20-year-old, then you get an extra year if I'm on the other end? How much of those types of negotiations do you see going on?
Well, I'm sure there will be. In Andrew's case, it will be just a shocker if he decide to play as a 20 years old. I did a talk with the coach at St. Lawrence. They got plans for him. They really like him, which is fine with us. I mean, we knew what we were getting and who we were getting and for how long we were going to get him. So nothing wrong with that. As long as being honest from day one, I think transparency is everything. And he was honest with us, and we know exactly what we were getting.
It's great seeing these guys making an impact right away too, right? And I love having Gendron and Guy in the same line, and I think you're even on the first power play unit as well. I mean, I think already Brown set up Gendron and Gendron.
Yeah, that was a great
Guy,
goal.
And, Halifax. They've been really clicking in, and it seems like they're already gelling with the players who've already been here.
No, they've been, and I said that the last game. They seem to have chemistry between Gendron, Guy, and Burby. And what allow us to do as well when we do trades, and we like last year our identity line that we had Antoine Leroy with Leveille and Romeo. I think we can create that now with Fullerton on left side, and we got Litalien with Patty on the center, and we got Romeo on the right side. We got that line back, and that line was really good for us last year, and we saw that since they come back. These guys are playing really well. It doesn't matter if it's Patty or Roman Litalien at center. We got that big line that can grind the game and get the puck in the net and be very effective on the forecheck. So we want to recreate that line that we had last year, and I think that's what we got right now. With doesn't matter who's at center. It's Litalien or Patterson. We got that big line that are hard to play against, and that's what happened when you get a guy like Gendron and Guy.
And not to mention Fullerton and Plouffe as well on the outside of that, right? Whether it can,
Exactly. We got Fullerton, Plouffe, Patty. I think we give Louis Louis got now a lot of players he can mix around. Even we're talking about Guy, but Guy can be switched around. He's a big body, and I truly believe again that big guys in the playoff. You play 4 games in 7 days, 4 games in 8 days. Your team, the bigger your team is, the better you're going to be effective on game 4, 5, 6, 7. As long as the longest the series is going to go, the bigger your player are, the more effective you're going to get.
Now, I think fans are going to really enjoy watching the team, especially based on the early return, so to speak. But you talked about 3-year plans. Did you see this year as being at the end of a cycle? And if so, what does next year look like, kind of beginning anew again?
Well, to be honest, we did. We're looking at we're looking down the road for sure. The biggest difference between when I won the Memorial Cup in 2018 with Batters is we completely emptied the tank, and it's not going to happen here. That's what I like.
3 first-round picks.
We got many picks left. That being said, but
our prospects,
next year we got Milota coming back in net. We don't know about Cournoyer, but we're going to have a 3 quality 20 years old for sure. We got 7 19 years old right now. 3 of them will be quality 20 years old. Then you got Milota, who's going to be 19, probably one of the top goalie in the league. Then you got 6 defensemen coming back So you got a good core for next year. We did talk about the group of prospect coming up. You got Roman Litalien in the mix, who's as far as I know, and he's a special player. And a lot of team that we were talking about, having those top players in the market start their negotiation with Roman Litalien. It was a category no right away, and so that eliminate a lot of the major trade that could have been done. We love the kids, and so we got a lot of good assets for next year and for the year after. So I like where we are for not just to finish this year, but the next couple of years after.
This year in the first half, a big issue was scoring. We had a lot of guys who were very capable, but maybe have not played up to their full capabilities. But that's completely erased, since we came back from Christmas. 58 shots, 55 shots, I think 42 shots the other night. And a big part of that has been Cam Squires, who's really opened up and started playing like Cam Squires. What have you liked about his game in the second half?
Well, Cam always been known as a second half player. He put up numbers in the second half. And that's one thing we took in consideration making our trades. We knew what Cam's going to be and what he was going to bring. We were not worried about Cam, like I said, and we mentioned that since the beginning of the podcast. I mean, it's not just about Cam Squire; it's about the whole team underperforming in the first half. And to me, for whatever reason, and like I said, the accident and there's a lot of other things that came up that we have to deal with, and we're not looking for excuses. We did that. We went through those adversity, went through more adversity, I think, than other teams, and that'll be good for us down the road.
And I think, too, it had been said that Braden Schmidt almost ends up being like a trade deadline acquisition, and Fullerton kind of the same as well. From what you've seen, how do you feel those guys have come along? It's not just a physical thing, too. I'm sure mentally it was tough to get back to a good place after a trying offseason.
Oh, for sure. I think Fullerton, for once, is we see the Foley that we saw at the end of last year, and even more. He started to get in the groove, and he's playing really well, especially lately. He's playing extremely well. Schmidt, he had a slow start, which is normal. You don't play for 3 months, and let's be honest, it was a big car accident, and he had a big injury out of it. So we didn't expect him to come here and dominate his first 10 games of the season. That being said, we all know what Braden Schmidt can bring to a hockey team. We all know what he's going to bring the second half, and that's again something that we took in consideration. And having him, playing the hockey that Braden Schmidt can play, having Foley coming and play the way he's playing right now, those are additions that we didn't have in the first half.
You mentioned earlier about feeling like this team is very capable of going for a run. Last year, obviously, I think that was the definition of going for a run, what we did last year. A very, very different team than everybody else that we were playing against, but, it was a playoff team. It was gritty. It was a team that the fans definitely got behind. It was something that kind of, rejuvenated the love for the Eagles, I think, in Cape Breton, which is very big in a market like this, right? Obviously, there's been some dark days here. The team's been here for a very long time. There's been fans like yourself that have been here for 30 years. And obviously, I'm sure it gets tiring over the years thinking this is the year, this is the year, this is the year. How much of an effect does a run like last year have on this market? And in your eyes, is that still a win? Is it still a win if in terms of how much the fan base has come together last year, or is it always going to be a championship? Or how far do you have to go until it becomes, all right, we're good, the championship has to be the end all be all?
Well, I think our goal is still the same. We want to bring a championship, or I want to bring a championship here before I retired anyway. We want and bring the championship team to Cape Breton. I honestly think that we're as good as any team right now, and we can beat any team that we're going to play in the playoff. Being in the top four, it's quite an accomplishment too. So we can't take away what we did last year just with a grain of salt. I think the run that we made, obviously the fans were behind us. It was an excitement to come to the rink for the players, but also for us, the staff and everybody. And we want to recreate that. there's no promise in hockey, unfortunately. You know, who's going to win this year? Well, if you want to put your money on Moncton or Rimouski or whatever, there's a lot of teams that can come out with the win, and we think we're one of them. And as I said earlier, it's not always the best team that win championship. It's you have to peak at the right time. You have to, you know, everything have to go on your side, and that's something that you can control in January, February. When March come in April, that's when we'll know what's going to happen. The injuries were, you know, you in the playoff, you lost 2 key players. It's tough.
Yeah, because a lot of fans, I'm sure, saw last year as a success, just because it was like, you know, it brought so many fans back, all those sellouts, and there was the talk of the town, and it was still like, I mean, look at when the team got out, everybody got the airport cheering. It's like, when have you ever seen that in terms of a team losing and still getting that support from their fan base? You know what I mean? But in terms of the hardcore fans who've been here, it's like, how I'm sure some people might be getting frustrated with, like, thinking that just getting to the second round and stealing a couple series and, you know, being a fan favorite team is a success. It's like, how do you take that next step to get there? Because like you said, I know you have that team, but if that team is similar to last year, and last year we still did get out, what is it that maybe sets last year's team apart from this year?
Well, I think we're a very similar team. I think we're built for the playoff. I said that before. Big teams are built for playoff, and we definitely have a big team. We're one of the biggest team I've seen in throughout my career in junior. But that being said, I mean, I cannot control what happened here the last 20 years or so. I can only, you know, as I said, when I came here, I was transparent with the people here. Here's my plan for 3 years. We think we're going to have a good team, and I cannot make you a promise that we're going to win, but we're going to have a team that will challenge for the championship, and I think that's where we are. You know, I cannot, like I said, I think playoff will start in March. We'll be ready, and hopefully the fans will be behind us again, and sold out crowd every night, and I'm sure they're going to enjoy what they're going to see.
A lot of good energy last year. I guess one of the last things I wanted to ask, how much of the moves you make, you want to improve internally, of course, but how much of it is watching what Moncton is doing, or Rimouski or Drummondville, and trying to envision what playoff matchups with those teams might be like?
Well, you know what? From what I'm hearing through a colleague in the league, I think you know, a lot of teams are trying to got bigger because, if we play Cape Breton, we need to get bigger. I think you look at Moncton, I think that's what they have trying to do. We're talking a lot about Moncton because they're 29-5 right now, but that being said, you know, that's, you know, they try to get bigger. A lot of Team Rimouski is trying to get bigger. So I never was one of the GM that, you know, do on my board all the teams and everything. I try to focus on our team. Is this team can play and every night and day in, day out against any team? And at the end of the trade deadline, the answer was yes for us. And that's all that mattered to me. Now, you know, like I said, 2 good goalies, solid D, 4 good line. I think our depth is good as anybody. I'm happy with where we are.
Do you think that guys like that, like, you know, Cournoyer coming in and playing the way he has, guys like that, is kind of seen it similarly last year to Charles-Antoine Lavallee, kind of like, maybe not so much Lucas Romero, because Lucas Romero was, you know, kind of lived up to what he was hoping he could be, and maybe a little bit better, but a guy like Lavallee was, I think, a 7th round pick, right? Came up from Junior A around Christmas time, I believe, last year, or October.
Right.
Kind of came up and kind of played that similar role that Cournoyer is right now, is kind of being that, you know, big surprise that is actually going to help us, you know, maybe be that that key piece for going on a run.
Yeah, you have to be. That's where your scouting guy have to be aware, and I told these guys all the time. There's always that player that is waiting for his break, that didn't get his break, or like you said earlier, change of scenery. You need to be, you know, you need to be alert, and you have to have flair, obviously. And a lot of time, like I said, there was many options on out there for a goalie. Cournoyer wasn't the only option we had, but we took our chance on him, and good for us. The response was better than expected. The kid is what break. So that's and then same thing with Charlotte Valley last year. He had a taste of the Q. He was in junior A. Was waiting for his break back in the league. We gave him his break and he jumped on it. So credit to the players. At the end of the day, yes, we give them a chance, but it's on them, and the credit always come back to the players.
It's great having games as well, like when Jacob Hartling came up, scored 2 goals, right? And it kind of, I'm sure for a lot of fans, it was kind of like, who's this young guy? And now, I'm sure people know his name. I'm sure that's great as well for maybe the next generation of prospects coming up, that fans are familiarized themselves with maybe these short stints of success.
Oh, for sure. And you mentioned Jacob. Again, credit to our scout. We got a pool of prospect that is one of the best I've seen since I've been working in the Q. These guys, we're talking about 5 or 6 guys next year that can probably come in and do the team, make the team. This is big when you got 5, 6, 7 players out of your draft that make the team. That's huge, and and you can afford. By doing that, drafting well, you can afford to make move to again keep your pool of draft pick very, very good. So a little bit like we did with Xavier Sabourin. So, but again, that's credit to the scout. You have to trust them, and we have a good group, and they did really well, and all the credit to them.
Is there anything else? I guess the last thing I could ask would be that fans might not know about this whole window, the whole trade period, that might surprise people to know that's going on in the inner workings of the organization. Anything people might not think about when it comes to how you approach a trade period?
You could probably never win a trade as a GM.
You never.
There's always somebody.
Honestly,
both teams ideally should win. I think
exactly. I think you never win or you never lose a trade. You're trying to get the best out of a trade for different reason or a specific reason, whatever it is. But there's definitely some time, without mentioning any offer that we got, but sometimes you just scratch your head on the offer that you got. And like I said, one thing that we established really early this year was if anything talked to us about Litalien, we're going to back off. So that was clear. There was no way we were going to trade Roman Litalien. This kid will be a very special player, and when he'll be older in 18 and 19, people trying to forget that sometimes he's still only 16 years old. That's how good he is. But that's one thing that every year you establish some rules or something that you're not gonna You're going to stick with, and this year was definitely Roman Litalien. We're not going to trade him, and not because we didn't have offer and really good offer on really good players, but it was a no-no.
Well, seeing how good he is already, and then knowing all the prospects that may come up next year and likely will come up next year, is that something that looking at now and maybe looking at next year as the first year of a 3-year? Is that somebody that you build around? Do you try to craft teams around one player knowing that he might be your guy for the next few years?
I told Roman that. I met with him before it started, and I told him that he wasn't going to go anywhere. It was his first trade period, so as a 16 years old, sometimes you worry about those things, and I told him not to worry, that he was going to be a Eagles at the end of the trade deadline. And definitely that, I won't say building around him, because I think we're gonna add players around him,
right.
But I'm confident we're gonna have a good team next year again, and in 2 years and 3 years. So that's what you got when you have a special player like that.
Maybe we'll get a Mem Cup bid in. When is the Mem Cup back in the Q?
2028.
28.
We have another team bidding now. If St. John's decides they want to bid.
Okay. Is that right? I didn't know that.
I don't know. I can't speak for their ownership group, but I would love to have a Memorial Cup here on our George Street. But I'm sure they'll be selling their George Street.
That'll be nice. That'll be nice to have one here. Yeah. Hopefully, something that can be done, and it's great for everybody. That being said, not just for the hockey team, but for the town, the city, the region. It's economically, it's great for everyone.
It'd be great to even just bring one back this year, maybe, and just we can have a parade after.
Yeah, Roman could win one at 16 and then 19.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's here or someplace else.
Yes.
Well, our goal will be to do our parade on George Street, and that'll be great.
Then you have to wear 2 rings. Is that
Exactly.
kind of a
No,
fashion
I
statement, though?
definitely wanted another ring before I retired.
That is the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, Sly. It's been very informative, and I'm sure that now you just kind of get to sit back and watch, see what you've made here, and hopefully we're playing hockey for a lot longer.
Exactly. We're being Halifax next week, just scouting for next year, and life goes on. Well, then see what our teams do, and hopefully bring in the cup.
Well, the process never ends,
Right.
but so begins the second season of Inside the Nest, and we'll catch you whenever our next episode is.
Thank you, Sly.
Thank you, guys.